All right, looks like the picking is much better. Got it under control. Very good. One thing that I need you to do is redo this guy at just 60. Just 60. Because there an issue I'm going to point out seemed to get fixed as you went further on. See, the problem is, and I think we've talked about this before, you played it like this. You played it with a rest symbol at the beginning of every bar. That's not what it's supposed to be. Okay? So I do need I need you to show me that you can do this at the slow speed. Because again, you did it at the faster speeds just fine. But basically, when you were playing it, let me show you how you did it. You kept doing it like this. So I could see you were muting the note on purpose because you were doing good muting technique, but that's not what it's supposed to be. So what I need you to do is demonstrate this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's start that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So no need to wait till next week. In fact, as soon as you have the chance, please record yourself doing it that way and send it on over. All right, so new things. This rhythm here, we have a different rhythm every bar. Every bar, a different rhythm. So theory stuff, we got your A5, F5, C5, and G5 chord. So basically going between the root note and the fifth interval of the power chords down here. So again, every bar is different, so make sure you count along with that rhythm. So this way you got a much better chance of playing it correct. So here, like when you're playing it when you're playing with Guitar Pro, currently has the repeat setup. So once you can, when you're playing along with it, you can leave the repeat in and then just keep stopping it once you get a good take and then increase the speed. But that might be a pain in the butt. So what you can do, basically come over here to that bar and then turn this off. So that way when you play it, it'll just go straight to the end. And then when it's time to put it back in, when it's time for your repeats, come back to this bar, turn that back on, set it to 4 times, and there you go. Okay, so let's play along with it here. Oops, I gotta turn that off. Turn that, whoops. Okay, here we go. Matter of fact, I'll turn it off now. Let me turn this down a little bit though. How's that sound? Okay. Here we go. 4. Alright, 120. 240. Oof, that was terrible. All right, repeats. Picked the wrong way. Whew. All right, next one. Change the way this one looks. All right. So a couple things going on here. And get this big old bass in there. So this is a 3/4 time signature. So the drums are going to count off a little different. So you're going to hear like a snare, kick, kick, snare, kick, kick, and then it goes. So every bar is going to be counted as 1 and 3. 1 and 3. So for the first half, I am hitting the root note every time the kick happens, and then the fifth interval when the snare happens. So 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 3. And then what I'm doing to make it a little bit fancier is I'm playing the notes of an A minor chord over the A5 chord, and then over the F5 chord the notes for an F major. Over the E5, the notes were an E minor. And then over the G5, playing the notes of a G major. So an A minor chord consists of an A, C, and E. An F major chord consists of the notes F, A, C. An E minor chord consists of E, G, B, and a G major chord consists of G, B, D. So all this stuff is in the key of C major or key of A minor. So an A5 chord can be played in key, so can an A minor. An F major and an F5 can be played, an E5 and an E minor, a G major or G5. So, because I know that, I'm able to sprinkle in those extra notes in the second half when it gets fancier. So, as we progress, we'll talk more about these things. But here we go. 60 beats per minute for number 2. Oops, I got to turn off the repeat for now. Check that volume. I thought so. Sorry. It's too much. All right, let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 1 and 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 Uh-oh. Did that not have the crash at the end? It sure didn't. Alright, well the crash is there now. Alright, let's do that one again. Doesn't sound right without the crash. Oh, what is this doing? Well, I thought it all fit a second ago. What's going on here? Oh, what am I doing? What am I goofing up? Alright, let's try again. Right, 120 next. All right, 180. And whoops, 240. Ooh, I choked. All right, let's try the repeats here. This is going to be a challenge. All right, and here we go. Oh man, I blew it. I blew it. Right at the end, I blew it. Oh my goodness. I might have to slow it down. Okay, one more try. Yeah. Yep, that's a tough one. All right, I'm going to go down to 200 for the repeats. And I'm always going to leave big mess-ups like this in here because if I'm screwing up, that shows you that, yeah, this is a challenge. So kind of gives you fair warning. Be ready. Be ready for a challenge. All right. The other thing to work on, something different, something different. Scales. Gonna start working on memorizing scales. So, that's a little bit of change here to how this is being viewed. So the key of C, key of A minor, it's the same notes. So I want to see how many of these you can get memorized within a week. So working on memorizing 1 or 2 a day is perfectly fine. Always memorize one at a time. A very big mistake people often make is they try and memorize everything all at once. They'll just play one scale shape after the next, just like all the 7 shapes, and then they wonder, well, how come I can't memorize this stuff? It's because you're trying too many things at once. So you got to get the first shape memorized, playing comfortably without looking at the page, and then be able to play the second shape from memory, and then make sure you can play the shapes 1 and 2. And once you can do that from memory, then you go to the third one. And then we can play shapes 1, 2, and 3. Then you add in the fourth. So just keep adding one at a time. And so playing this stuff, I got little things to kind of help you memorize what's going on. Although it's a little bit different in these base shapes. So I'm going to wait on that. Well, one thing it can be helpful. So notice how, this C scale, or the C major scale, it starts with that C note there. And then the next note in is a D. Well, that's the first note of the next scale shape. And then here we have an E as the second note. That's the first note of the next scale shape. So remembering things like that can help you remember where the next scale shape is going to be. Because everything's continuing from one shape to the next. All we're doing is working with these 7 notes up here, and it just cycles through the same 7 notes again and again, just starting in a different place. So it's much easier to learn something like C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C versus like that. So there's all kinds of ways to do the same scale, or the same set of notes, but the shapes help us visualize the fretboard much easier. So basically, we're just going note to note in octaves. So C up to C. So you're going C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then back down. So that's what I want you to do. Just go up and down each shape. Work on alternate picking while you do it. And then, so that's your C major scale, or the C Ionian mode. And then the next one is D Dorian. We'll get into mode explanation as we progress, but this week we're going to focus on just trying to memorize as many of these as you can. And then when it comes time for your video demonstration, show me what you got down, okay? All right, so D Dorian's next. Then E Phrygian we have in 2 places. We got way up here on the 12th fret. And then also in the open position. So I would memorize the high position first, and then the low position. And then we have F Lydian. Very similar to the previous. Uh-oh. I thought I fixed that. I'm sorry. Hold on. Oh, you know what I did? Unless my making this pattern didn't work. That shape's not correct. That one is. Hold on. Hold on. There, okay, that's correct. Yeah. I accidentally clicked somewhere on the fretboard when I was making this today and added the note that didn't belong. Alright, now we're looking good. So yeah, the E Phrygian and F Lydian, very, very similar. It's just this starts with an E note, goes up to E. This starts with an F and goes up to F. So again, I would learn the high octave shape first, and then the open string one. So it's really the same shape, same notes. It's just over here you got some open strings. So after you've done the E Phrygian up here, and open. And you gotta jump back up here. The high F Lydian, then the open one. And then next is the G Mixolydian. And then the A minor scale, which is also the Aeolian mode. And then B Locrian. Which is really close to the C major scale. So yeah, that C scale is going to be extremely important because this is basically where all this theory stuff is going to come from. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes. So those are the things to work on. All right, and remember, as soon as you can, well, minus the chord at the end. Send that over as soon as you can. Got to make sure that's done. All right, any questions, let me know. I'll see you again in your new videos.